Of course. Um, hey guys, it's Eric with the Miller Park Minute, where we're throwing strikes and getting likes, hitting dingers, and getting listeners. I just closed my camera, so let me bring that back up. Okay. Might need to restart. Oh. So, if you're watching this, I'm trying to bring the camera back up. Hang on. When all else fails, close and restart. So we are talking Brew Crew today. If you're in this first minute of the live stream, we are having technical difficulties. If you're listening on the podcast, that's not what I want, man. On the iPhone. There we go. Technical difficulties. Sorry if you're here watching and you're not seeing me. I don't know what precisely happened. Shows it's there. So, talking Brew Crew, as we like to do. Let me just see if I can bring it up in a different light. All right, we are back. Thanks for hanging on there, Richard. So the Brewers lost last night. Really, it came down to the bats. I mean, it was just a lack of clutch hitting. We had runners on base in timely fashion, and it just did not go our way. So we're going to talk about kind of where we've been and where we are going from last week to this. There's been a lot of videos posted and a lot of things we talked about. And I think this all goes back to Sal Frelick's debut. Sal Frelick had the debut of debuts. That was the kind of the start of good news for the Milwaukee Brewers. It was really when things should have started to turn around, have slowly started to turn around, but haven't necessarily gone full swing yet. And I think the big piece here is the additions of the bats. You've got Mark Canha, Carlos Santana. Then you add Andrew Chafin. Those are 3 trade deadline. Then we get Woody back. Then we get Brian Anderson back. And things are starting to turn the right direction. We're going to take this Pirate series. I don't have any doubt or any lack of confidence that we are going to take this Pirate series. I think that the Brew Crew I mean, they've only lost two to the Pirates so far this season. So, I mean, I think the Brew Crew is going to really come out of the gate strong here tonight. I'm not worried about it. You got Corbin on the hill. Anytime Corbin's on the hill, we're in good standings. I did not do an intro because I was in the middle of technical difficulties. So this is the Miller Park Minute. We are here every day, 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Rumble, you name it, we are there. Really just been having some fun with the channel lately. Hope you guys have been enjoying the ride. If you want to support us, you can click down below. Richard is a supporter of the channel. Thank you, Richard. We try to produce the best content, the most, I wouldn't say it's not always the most positive. I mean, we're gonna be negative where we need to be, but we try to give it the best outlook when it's in the negatives. So I really enjoy it. I've been having fun this week. Lots of good news, good Brewers news to talk about. And some bad as well. I mean, you can take the good with the bad, right? Take the win with the loss. Yes, they will. Our bats will come due tonight and tomorrow. I'm not worried about that. Plus, we get Woody on the hill. That's exciting. I think he's got two or three starts on the year. So it's really been a while since we've seen Brandon Woodruff. So it'll be good and refreshing. I'll probably be popping out my Woody jersey tomorrow. Woody is one of like three players that I have. I have Corbin Burnes, Woody, and Christian Yelich. A ton of Christian Yelich. Then all my no names, because after Josh Hader got traded, I decided that it would just be best to buy no name jerseys instead of spending $400. So it's been a week of firsts, obviously. We lost the series at the end of July. We had Sal Frelick, his first career home run. We had Santana get his first home run as a Brewer. We had Canna get his first hit. Lots of good stuff. Ebner Uribe is up and doing well. It's kind of funny when we talk about this, and I talked about this a little bit the other day, but this roster is a totally different beast than it's been at any point in time, and it's kind of been ever changing. The big piece that I like about this ever changing roster is you never know who's going to step up. There was a week stretch there where Elvis Perguo really was stepping up, and that was cool. He's still he's still in there, but this is also a team who's taxed the bullpen. He went from not using Devin Williams to using him more often, and almost every other day. And I think that's kind of the key piece here is we're using people in streaks. People are heating up in streaks. Now, if like the other night, Thursday night, if we could get them to all fire at the same time, it would be huge. It would be absolutely monumental if all the players fired at the same time. This team's got it. I mean, you can see that they've got it and that they can be really, really good in the long and short of it. It is one of those things where, the pieces are there. They just need to be clicking at the right time. Christian Yelich is hitting. Great. All right, Contreras needs to hit. Willy Adames needs to hit. The young guys need to sprinkle in some hits there. Now, over the last week, you've had Joey Wiemer go on an 8-game hitting streak. Sal Frelick is doing Sal Frelick's thing each and every day. So really, we've had some good stuff happening, and it's been a lot better than I thought it could be or would be. Last night, Wiemer broke his streak, but that's okay. Really, the bats didn't come to play as much last night in a timely fashion. That's what it came down to. When you have a 8-hit day and you you put 4 runs on the board, that's not a good thing, especially with those runners in scoring position, those bases loaded situations. That's when it gets straight up ugly. The other thing I kind of have really harped on this week, and I like to talk about this. This is kind of one of my favorite topics overall. It's just the negativity that's out there in the fan base. It's like honestly, no one can ever be happy, whether we're winning or losing, or it's quite out straight disgusting. And I know, Richard, you've been dealing with a lot of this in your Milwaukee Brewers group, but it's bad. I mean, there's other podcasts out there, and I don't claim to be the best podcast, and I don't claim to be number one, because I'm not. And I'm excuse me, I'm real about the fact that I'm not the number one podcast. But it's funny to me that these guys who are so negative read headlines and don't follow the ins and outs every day, are putting out podcasts and they're getting hundreds and thousands of views because maybe just in general the fan base is more negative. I don't know. I really don't know. It seems that way. Weimer is not gonna is hitting, but he's not hitting a ton. He's sprinkling a hit here and there. So I agree with you there. I mean, he's not. Do you have him on your fantasy roster? I'm in danger this week. I've made some bad calls in fantasy baseball this week. But I think what it comes down to is it's each piece needs to click at the right time. Each piece needs to fire at the same time. The other night, everybody fired at the same time. We had a good pitching outing. And last night's pitching outing with Colin Ray just came down to the fact that Colin Ray was going to have a clunker one of these days. Just came against Pittsburgh, which sucks. It absolutely sucks that it came against Pittsburgh. Thought this would be an easy sweep. But that being said, is what it is. You win some, you lose some. We just need to string enough of these series together to keep our position ahead of everybody else. And then we take the NL Central and we play it one game at a time once we get to the playoffs, and we'll, see how far we can go. The negative side of social media is expected. It's hard to deal with, but I tend to distance myself from the naysayers. Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, like when I look at the case for the media here and everybody who talks Brewers on a regular basis, there's generally the basis is negative. The fan base as a whole is negative because we haven't won anything and blah blah blah. I was talking to some guys last night from Chicago, and they're like, we won that World Series, but it's not like they've been a contender ever since. They got rid of all their best players and have kind of just been muddling around and not playing good baseball. We've at least consistently been in the playoffs. Now, you would want the consistency of the playoffs to eventually go all in and get to the series. It's not as easy as it says, as we say it is. It's not as easy as they think it is, as everybody thinks it is. But at the end game, we've consistently had a very good baseball team, with the exception of last year not making the playoffs. But even last year, we were in it till the end. We were very much in it until the end. So I think that's the long and short. I think that's the part that's the hardest to deal with. I think that's where people get so negative, and it's a shame that they do, because quite frankly, this team is better than they've been in the most duration of my fandom. I mean, I was born in the 80s, so you think about going back to the 90s, we didn't have a good ball club in Milwaukee. We've had bright spots along the way. We had 2008 team. 2008 was probably the best team, and then followed by 2011, and then 2018. So when we look retrospective at Brewers baseball, it's hard to, it's a franchise that's never won a World Series. Okay, great. There's still a handful of those out there. We're not the only ones, but we're trying to do something about it. And it's the consistency of it. You told someone the other day you're playing your best ball and we are fighting for first. People need to take a look at from the other side before a ridiculous comment. Yeah, and that's it. It's the truth. I mean, what it comes down to in the long and short is they are out there competing. There was another podcast early to late part of this week that was going on saying Montesterio was not a qualified major leaguer and blah blah blah, and it's like these guys work really hard, and only 23,000 players have played in the major leagues. Think about the odds of that. Think about how many hundreds of players go through these systems and actually get a shot, get that opportunity, that one opportunity to play. Now, Montesterio is a guy who's not expected, wasn't on the radar, wasn't even in a single preseason conversation about baseball and about being on the Brewers, anyways. And look, he's come to play. He's showed up, and he's here right now. In the thick of it. I just put up the link if anybody would like to come on camera and chit chat with me for a few minutes. We got some time for that. The other things I wanted to cover this week were just kind of talking about what we've got coming, what's coming for the Brewers. Obviously with Wade Miley now back, with Brandon Woodruff now back, you have to take a look at the construction of our team and the roster and where we're going to go in the long haul of this, long and short of this. You're gonna have a rotation consisting of Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, Freddie Peralta, then Miley. Then your options are Julio Teheran, Ray, or Hauser. I mean, that's great. And we still got other guys in the system. We still got David Gasser and Ethan Small that we don't know where they're gonna fill in here. So I like the construction of that starting rotation to start. I mean, Julio Teheran has put up good starts. Colin Ray has put up good starts. And Hauser has put up good starts. So you got three good guys. And even if we don't go to a six-man, we still have a good position there. Then if you go catchers, Contreras is going to play every day. Even when Caratini's catching tonight, you can see Contreras playing in some fashion. DH probably. But then you go first base. Okay, so we got Carlos Santana. Rowdy Tellez is going to come back and be back up to that. Then you've got second base. You got Turang rocking. You can use Owen Miller there if you call him back up, or Abraham Toro. Then you got Willie at short. Willie needs to get the bat together. That's the biggest concern and biggest hole. I think this team is one of those teams that, like Carlos Gomez before him, he's kind of that guy that when he's beaten and he's doing well, he's that positive force in the clubhouse. And then third base, you got Anderson. Montesterio has been hitting really well, so he kind of puts more pressure to play him than Anderson. Anderson didn't look too hot to trot at the first few at bats he had, but I mean, it takes time to get your legs under you, so I'll give him that. And then you got Frelick and Canna in the outfield. You got Weimer and Christian Yelich. And that, did Ray get sent down? I didn't even look. I'm just saying in general. I'm saying in general what we have and what we can do with what we have. But I didn't look at any moves today. Injuries and moves. Yep, sure enough. Thank you for calling that out, Connor. Appreciate you, bud. So Colin Ray was optioned to AAA Nashville. Clayton Andrews recalled. All right. So we're bringing up Clayton Andrews. Guys that I don't expect to have a big factor is, and I'm kind of confused, are still here, like the Tyrone Taylors and the Winkers. Not that I don't like Winker as a player. I don't like what he's done for us as a team. Certain guys, when they're hitters, come to Milwaukee and just don't perform. I.e. Jackie Bradley, Andrew McCutcheon last year. I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, I think I don't know Winker's contract status. I should look that up. But thank you for bringing up that because I had no idea. I didn't even look at the webpage today yet. Saturdays are my busiest day, and I always plan a live stream for a Saturday. And I don't prep efficiently. I talk about the previous night's game and then kind of the week's news ahead. So that's what this show is. If you're new here, this is a daily show, 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Who do we call up in September? Well, the September call-ups aren't what they used to be. A little dust on my hat from cleaning. But I don't know. I mean, at this juncture, you've got your main important guys. I don't think we at any juncture see a Jackson Chourio this year, unless I think he's like I said this before. Actually, I said he's a break glass in case of emergency type of deal. He's not gonna. It would be dumb. It'd be straight up dumb to call up Jackson Chourio. Now, is there a potential for like a Robert Gasser? Maybe. It really depends where our needs are later in this month. And we have to let this month play out and see what happens once Woody gets back. And if we can get these bats to fire on the same page and same cylinder, I think that's where we go in the long and short. Is it a possibility that we see him? Yeah, sure. But it's going to be very limited. They're not gonna burn that bridge yet because he's not in play for the plan for this year. They didn't plan around this. They planned around a Garrett Mitchell. They planned around a Sal Frelick and a Joey Wiemer. They didn't plan to bring up 4 guys. If Black would come up, that'd be interesting because we do need that. Do need that position. I don't think that's a terrible idea. But I don't know where we're building to with because now we have a good catcher in the minors, we have a good third baseman in the minors. Mazeroski is building to some point. I don't think we'll see him this year. That would be too soon, I feel. But do you cash these guys next year and make a run when you still have a Willy Adames, Corbin Burns, and a Brandon Woodruff on your roster? So, assuming you don't extend or sign any of them. Yeah, I'd be down. I'd be down. Just because I feel the infield needs that solid bat if we can't get some consistency out of Willie. Willie is really hurting his case to make an extension. Kind of like Orlando Arcia before him. Willie has had flares of goodness. And it's sad because Willie is kind of that guy that you look to on the team, and he's like the beat of the team, and he's the clubhouse guy, and he's really great. I feel like talking about Taylor. He's not great, but he could bring some value. Yeah, I don't. You're talking Tyrone. I don't know. I don't know if Tyrone will ever get back to what he is. I mean, he's at the end of his rope, kind of like a Keston. At this juncture, I say call up Keston one more time. I've been very anti it, but if you call up Keston one more time, you give him some consistent at bats for a week, and he doesn't seem to be playing well, then you can toss his butt to the side. Similar probably with, you have a lot of these wait and see windows with these guys, some of these backup guys. I think, Montecero, guys like that still have options, so you could kind of play. You got a little play there, you know what I mean? You could kind of play the hot hand, so to speak. Yeah, I thought Tyrone Taylor should have been out at the beginning of the year when we got Jesse Winker, but I mean, then look what happened. Obviously, all the depth that we had at the beginning of the season has been used and then some. So it really comes down to what. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of curious what you're saying. Oh, because he hit a dinger against the Reds. Yeah, I mean he was useful there. I mean, everybody's got a lucky day. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. Um, and that's what I'm saying about Keston. I'm saying Keston could come up and find some hitting for a little bit, and you got to play the hot hand. You're gonna play the guy who's hitting. That's why Montesero is getting as much play as he is because he's hitting, and consistently. And he's that sneaky guy on the roster right now that no one expects to be one of your best players because he's not a top prospect, but he's playing really well and he's got a great batting average. Of our guys leading in batting average, he's one of the top few. Now, of course, he doesn't have as many at bats as everybody else does, but I mean, still, he's one of the top guys for the amount of play that he has had. I really just think that we if we can consistently play these top producers on a regular basis and just okay, so Tyrone Taylor gets 2 hits tonight, for instance. Then maybe he works his way into the lineup card tomorrow, and play him and play the hot hand, switch him out a little bit more. We've got some depth and some flexibility, surprisingly, still on this team and in this roster, and that's what we need to do. That third or that AAA to major leagues shuttle is going to be busy over the next month. I foresee it being super busy because you're gonna test out Jesse Winker one more time. You'll probably test out Keston one more time, unless you see some massive hitting come out of Canna and Carlos Santana. You're gonna be testing the hot hand. You're gonna be testing these guys on a regular basis. As far as pitching goes, I think we're pretty well set there. But little flare ups, little injuries will happen, things like that. We'll see if how Wade Miley does. I love the defense of Joey Wiemer. It's just showing on MLB.com. They're showing the clip of Tyrone or of Joey almost catching that one at the wall and then just sitting down at the base of the wall and looking pissed off. That guy comes to play. He comes to ball. He comes to play hard. And he's really good at center field. So he reminds me much of a Lorenzo Cain out there, and it's awesome. So tonight we got Burns on the hill. Tomorrow we got Woody. And I'm excited for both. I would love to have Keston up, but don't think the Brewers would rather have him over Taylor. Taylor just isn't hitting. He isn't producing. I don't see a way in this day and age and where we are and how we've got all these depth pieces in the system that Taylor stays around much longer. And if you do like Taylor, I understand. I mean, he's had some upside for these last couple of years, but he just hasn't had it this year in the long and short of it. And we want to use examples like, so say you use the examples of like he hit a home run versus the Reds, which helped us win that game versus the Reds. Awesome. Ji-Man Choi hit like a grand slam in a game, and then he was traded the next day. So, I mean, it just depends. It's all about depth and moves. And I think what's going to be better for the Brewers franchise long term, and who's gonna make the most sense in the long term. Keston is not a guy, and if this is like I said, if this is your first time hearing me, I don't normally talk about Keston. Actually, Richard can tell you I quite frankly hate Keston. But at the same time, I would like to see him do something, and then make the decision on whether it's time to finally keep him or let him go. Same goes with Taylor. Same goes with Winker. I think we need to give guys more solid positions and let them know that they're going to be here in the long and short. Guys, I think we're going to call it an episode today. I appreciate everyone who stopped on. Connor, welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming in to be a part of the discussion today. We're going to go get this game tonight. Yeah. What have you done for me lately? Exactly. And that's the thing. It's, this season has been a long one. We've gone through so much injuries, so much place. I mean, if you had told me at the beginning of the season that this is where we would be fighting out injuries and things like this in the beginning of August, I would have said, no way. No way. This team will be fine. But it's been a long season, so. But that being said, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe. If you're listening to this on the podcast platform, please rate and review. And if you're not on the podcast platform, please rate and review anyways. Very well. Walking into the game. Oh, you're listening while walking into the game. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, I really think that those were great moves. I do like the ads of Santana and Canna, and even Chafin. I do like those ads. I think that they will be good. It takes a week to get your feet wet. Maybe next week where they're more comfortable with the crew and been with the crew longer. I think they are going to have a bigger play long term. You know what I mean? I think that that's something we will see for the long and short, being a good move and working out for this season much better than the trades of last season. Obviously, trading Josh Hader and getting what we got there did not work out for the season. And when I say for the season, I look at trade season to season. So what did the Josh Hader trade do last season? Well, we didn't get to the playoffs, so it wasn't a good result. Mark Canna and Carlos Santana for this season hopefully will be that push that we need to get to the playoffs. Those extra bats on those days where certain guys aren't hitting, that's crucial to me. We want to have just a different guy or a series of different guys firing every day. Not everybody's going to hit every day, but if a series of guys can hit each day to get us enough hits, to score enough runs, to win baseball games, that's what it's all about in the long and short. But that being said, guys, that's all I got. I appreciate you, Connor, for coming in. Enjoy the game. Go Brew Crew. Let's get them tonight, guys. See you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. As always, go Brewers, and like and subscribe.